Welcome back. I know it's really fashionable to do the latest and greatest in the gaming industry, but today I wanted to review a really old game. I'm doing this mostly because I have a big soft spot in my heart for it, but also because I think it's worth your time and you may even enjoy it. Anyway, without further ado, let's get to the review. Today, we're talking about The Curse of Monkey Island. Hi, I'm Benjamin Butcher, he, him. I make videos about tech and gaming, and I really love what I do, so subscribe if you like my channel, or whatever. So on New Year's Day, I was bonding with a family member about our shared love for point-and-click games. In sadness, I told him about how I was no longer able to play my favorite childhood game, The Curse of Monkey Island, because I'd gotten rid of the laptop it was stored on. What's more, there weren't many hard copies left, etc., etc. Moan, moan, wail, wail. Anyway, I continued to pour out my lamentation until he said brightly, actually, you can get it on Steam for $3, and someone's made it so it runs on Mac. Now you know what I was doing on New Year's Day. Now, I remember the game as being fantastic, but is that just nostalgia talking? Well, I replayed the entire game just for you, so let's find out. Starting with writing. One of my favorite games in the whole world is Portal 2. In my opinion, it's a masterpiece of inventive gameplay and a really fresh take on what it means to be a first-person shooter. What really set Portal apart, however, was the icing on the cake, which is the hilarious writing.
Cave Johnson here. Fact, the key to any successful cooperative test is trust. And as our data clearly shows, humans cannot be trusted. The solution? Robots. Then fire the guys who made those robots and build better robots.
This became a trend in the games that I've held nearest and dearest. Monkey Island 3, The Curse of Monkey Island, in my opinion, is especially good in this regard. While sometimes it's easy to get bogged down in a difficult puzzle, the fact is that when there is dialogue, there's almost always a fun joke or a nod for the player to enjoy.
If only I could have a small drink of fresh water, I might have the strength to sail on. Oh, but I know there's nothing but ocean for miles and miles.
What's crazier about the writing in this game is that there are hundreds of conversations and probably thousands of branching subdialogues. Sometimes the stock responses do get annoying, but I'm still amazed at how many fun responses were thought up and written for the game. All I can say is that I have massive respect for the people who wrote this game, and that I'm glad that they had fun doing it. Next, let's talk about plot. Before we get rolling, I just wanted to say that you don't really have to have played the previous ones for this one to make sense. One of the more lamentable things about this game is that it would never, in 1,000 years, pass the Bechdel test. There are, I think, 4 female characters in the game. They never speak to each other, and if they did, they definitely have to be talking about a man. If you can forgive that, however, the plot of the game overall is kind of campy and endearing.
Now, with the demon flames of this voodoo cannonball, I'll blast my significant other into the significant other world! That'll show her how much I truly care.
It's really a classic pirate tale, and I have mad respect for them for doing an army of undead pirates before Pirates of the Caribbean made it cool. Of course, the plot would be nothing without the characters, and in this game you begin as the plucky and lovable, if somewhat scrawny, Guybrush Threepwood. Mighty pirate. Guybrush is very much a tryhard. You can see how badly he wants to be a scary masculine pirate, but frankly, he's a 20-something twink with a kind heart. As I mentioned, when discussing the writing of the game, Guybrush's lines are often genuinely funny. He's a little bit like Deadpool in that sometimes he really does like to look straight into the camera and break the fourth wall. Honestly, the characters are both two-dimensional and also surprisingly well developed. Again, most of the time, the characters' depth is present almost exclusively for the sake of making a joke, but ultimately they're characters which are fun to watch. A good test for whether or not a character is in itself a good character is what I call the rose cake batter test. I'm referring specifically to the episode of Schitt's Creek where David and Moira have to make a cake together.
Next step is to fold in the cheese.
What does that mean? What does fold in the cheese mean?
He folds it in.
I understand that, but how do you fold it? Do you fold it in half like a piece of paper and drop it in the pot, or what do you do?
David, I cannot show you everything.
Okay, well, can you show me one thing?
If you can imagine putting any given character into a scenario where they need to make cake batter and it's still funny or enjoyable, you've got a solid character. This holds true with Guybrush and his nemesis. Something else about this game which brings me a lot of joy is the voice acting. If you watched my Hades review, then you know how important I think this is, and honestly, the casting is spot on and the cast handled the dialogue so skillfully. Next, graphics and look and feel. So this game came out in the 90s, and honestly, it could again just be the boatloads of nostalgia and endorphins that I get from it, but the animation, such as it is, for the game feels timeless and fun. I think this is partly because the style which was chosen was one which was fairly well developed at the time, and it feels a lot like the peak of point-and-click adventures for the 90s. I'm realizing that I may have just made some people angry. I'm sorry. Puzzles. I think occasionally I may have just been being stupid, but there are 1 or 2 puzzles in this game which I feel I could have only gotten with blind luck. Overall, however, I have to say that with a little bit of persistence and some elbow grease, the puzzles in the game are really fucking difficult. I mean, fun and enjoyable. At times, it's fiendishly difficult, but it's also so deeply satisfying to see how all of the puzzles fit together to meet the ultimate scheme of accomplishing your goal.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
Next, let's talk about the price. Unfortunately, Monkey Island 3 can no longer be purchased for the low price of $3. However, Steam often does have a lot of sales, so put it on your wish list. And if you can scrape together $5 extra, the game can be yours forever. Summary. Now, I really hope that I haven't oversold it, but honestly, this game only took me about 10 hours to beat. It's super fun, and I think there's about 3 unique maps built into the storyline. I'm actually thinking of doing a speedrun. If anyone's interested, maybe leave a thumbs up, or I don't know why I'm saying that. I'm probably gonna do it anyway. In a way, this game reminds me a lot of A Night in the Woods because owning it is like owning a really good book. It's something that I know I can go back and enjoy again and again. Endorphins on demand, baby. Honestly, leaving aside the white male-centricness of it, it's a really fun, endearing, and well-made game which has aged remarkably well, and it's one that I really hope kids enjoy for generations. Okay, that's pretty much it. I'm BRBTG, and as always, I'll be right back.